Hey guys, Infidel1258 here. Today I'm going to get into the comment section. We're going to do another frequently asked question video. I'm going to go through your comments and I'm going to see what you're asking about. Some of them might be critical, they might be hopeful. I don't know what you're going to say. I haven't read them already. I'm just going to take 3 different comments from 3 different videos and I'm going to do my best to answer them honestly. If you're new to my channel, my name is Dwayne Cunningham. I go by Infidel1258. You can call me 12. I look at the comment section regularly, so please leave your comments below. And if you leave your IGN and if I use your comment, I will try to say thank you by sending you a little bit of DEC. Okay, let's get into it. So like I said, I haven't looked at the comment section yet. I like this. I'm not going to count this one, but simple comment. BTC equals 34,000 plus. DEC never drop again. Love it. I hope you're right, because BTC is well above 34. It touched 35 something today, 12% in the 24-hour. XRP touched 55.3 or something. You guys know I got a bag. A lot of interesting tokens making some serious moves today. Solano, what else? Hex is like up 300% in like last week. What else? I saw Chainlink is pumping pretty hard. Like several coins are giving a good run. Solo. So I mean, some things are moving and it's fun to watch. I don't know if it's the beginning of something or not, but if you guys know, if that happens, I'll be a happy man and I'll be moving harder into some of that rebellion stuff. So let's see what the comments have to say. Okay. Okay. Erroneous says, which is an awesome name, by the way. Erroneous, love it. This is a video where I talked about hopes and fears, and it's titled that way because I shared 2 things that I'm really optimistic about and why I'm like super pumped about this game and in this moment, and then 3 things that I'm think we need to be we need to be, let's say, thoughtful about. I wouldn't say worried, I wouldn't say concerned, but truly thoughtful. And some of you guys who are perma bears, you're gonna listen to some of those quote unquote fears, and you're gonna be like, see, I told you the game's falling apart. And maybe we'll read a comment like that. I don't know. But to me, those concerns are concerns, and a thoughtful, nuanced conversation about anything at all is gonna have. You're gonna have strong points, and you're gonna have points where you're like, maybe you are less confident about your position, whether that's, I think it's truly anything you walk in confidence, especially in investment, because there's a degree of uncertainty with this, with any investment, right? And so you do your best to make a thoughtful decision, and you're going to be contemplative about the hurdles or the barriers you can anticipate. And so we talk about a few of those. I thought this was a good video. I hope you enjoyed it. And Erroneous says, I'm putting my money into upgrading my betas for land, not rebellion. Interesting. I'll buy a little of rebellion packs. By the real-time clock that it's ticking down is land release for you to get DC and workers ready. Modern is still getting cheated with battle helpers. Anyways, the new tactics are not going to stop cheaters that exploited, ignored, and will now re-up the rebellion packs so they keep cheating. Okay. There's actually a lot of things in there. Yeah, there's a lot of different topics. Let's dive a bit deeper in here. So first and foremost, you're focusing on betas. I haven't heard anybody saying that they're going to be doing that. I love it though. I actually think there's real wisdom in that. Now, is it going to be the most fruitful financial decision long term? That's going to depend on a lot of variables. It's going to depend on whether you play in the wild. You allude to in the second part of your conversation how much you seem to really hate automation, because you talk about the battle helpers. So I presume you don't want to deal with the bots. Well, as much as modern might still have that, I don't know. You say confidently that that's still happening. I don't know that to be true. I personally am not using any battle helpers or bots or anything in modern, and I don't know anybody, or at least no one I know has told me they're doing so in modern. But wild, of course, you can for the time being. And so if you're buying betas, are you not concerned? Again, I'm not trying to dissuade you, but are you not concerned that is an investment of cards that are playable exclusively in the wild where bots are still permissible? So, I wonder about that a little bit, but I like the idea of buying betas because, for one thing, the beta prices have fallen farther than some of the other cards. Rift Watchers have held their value in a way that betas have not. Even Chaos Legion and Dice and Untamed, all of which have fallen dramatically in the last 5 months. And I have data on that. I'm not going to pull it up now. I've talked about it more than once. But I'll tell you roughly, we're talking about a 50% decline in some of the more modern cards, whereas we're talking about a 60 to 70% decline in the alphas or the betas, alphas being the bigger decline. And so there's a less of a premium on some of those cards, but then truly there was maybe more of a premium before. Do you see what I mean? It's like, the betas have maybe gone down 60%, whereas Chaos has gone down 50. Just to imagine those numbers, it might be slightly off. But then if betas were higher proportionally than the Chaos Legions were, and I don't know if that's exactly so, but I'm saying there's not such a difference. It's not like, betas are down 95% and everything else is down 20. That would be like, okay, let's go. Fill the boots with betas. That would be one thing I'd want you to think through. Not saying you shouldn't. I really believe the alphas and betas have a lot of value. I really believe they're exciting cards. I really believe some of these are super fun and super powerful. Even today, I still enjoy playing in the wild phrase. I just personally dislike playing against the bots. And I'm specifically talking about in the guild brawls, because I suspect, based on how the teams come at me when I play in those Diamond League guild brawls, that people are using automation of some kind. The way that the teams are picked, it just feels that way. So these cards are awesome. I think long term you're gonna appreciate the fact you make that call. Personally, I think that's a smart call, but I wanted to give it a little bit of that, maybe those questions for you to mull over. And then you go a totally different angle here, and you do talk about the automation, but before actually even that, you say you are going to buy some Rebellion packs, but kind of toward the end of the release, I suppose. That's where my head's at, because like you, I want to focus on land. We got to get that DEC for the land. You got to put the cards into the land, got to make the land work the way I want it to. And then Rebellion, of course, is part of it for me, like the long-term play. But I just, first and foremost, I need to have my land ready. And you might say, well, Dwayne, didn't you just spend all your DEC on like 115 packs of Rebellion? That's true. But understand that was an inconsequential amount of money. Like, I mean, I happen to be affluent enough. Like, I really have no kind of excess cash right now. I've just different things, different world, family finances and stuff like that. It's quite tight. But I'm saying, we're talking 400 or 100 packs, it's $400 US. I have that in crypto. I can move it around. I can replace that easily so that my land launches the way it should have, even if I bought 0 Rebellion packs. The real question is, how do I get 2,000 Rebellion packs? The only answer is that bull market we kind of touched on very quickly by that first comment needs to happen. I need to see some of these crypto tokens go, add another 0 on is where we start getting into a conversation about 500, 1,000, 2,000 Rebellion packs for me. But and then the battle helpers, maybe I commented enough on that one. I'm with you. It is frustrating if it's still happening in modern, and I have no way to ascertain if it is or isn't. That's annoying. But one of the concerns about implementation of bots was always, how can we accurately track this? And one of the limitations to even wanting to track it was like that question of, can we effectively identify and eliminate? And if we can, the community has said get rid of them. But if we can't, I don't know. I mean, we just, it's annoying, but it just is what it is, I think. But thank you for the comment, Erroneous. Let's keep going. Some great comments in here on a lot of stuff in here. Thank you. Okay, here's a new one. Let's read Bananas down here. Quickly though. Chaos Rebel says, if New Summoner can put poison, then Dr. Blight is going to be eliminated in fewer turns. First of all, he's referring to a video where I talked about the dual element summoners and the tactics summoners. The summoner tactics, which is this like items and spells 0.5, this idea that you, before the battle begins, you can actually drop maybe an archery nerf on my team, or you can put shield on your monsters, or maybe you can put a poison on one monster on the table, mine or yours, and it's possible that you could selectively, he's saying you could selectively target Dr. Blight and thereby, mitigate some of the, overpowered nature of Dr. Blight, because that card is one of the best cards in the game in terms of how often it's playable, how often it wins. And if you wonder about that, like Splintercoach, the data still shows that. So I get it. You're right, Chaos Rebel. That will not mean that Dr. Blight is no longer powerful or meta. The interesting thing about these things, you look at Kitty. Kitty saw nerfs in the form of True Strike coming in other monsters and more of them, or Affliction, or other 2-speed summoners, and Kitty is still meta. So I'm saying, the best cards, even when the meta slowly evolves around them, they stay key and critical for much time to come. Okay, I want to read this bigger comment down here. Actually, no, I'm going to read this one because he's got 5 ups and he's got a comment from Banana. So let's see. Same video. Metal Storm says, Metal Storm 9691. Great, makes the old summoners obsolete and also bans the untamed cards from modern. How to make the player cards even more worthless. I don't invest a cent more. Hope SPS performs in the bull run, then I'll cash out. Okay. I want to start with the last thought first. Hope SPS performs in bull run, then I'll cash out. Love it. Like people of this, posture, of this degree of frustration, sometimes I think you need to hear this. And some of you bulls who love Splinterlands, you need to hear this. It's not a problem that people have a vision to cash out of a game like Splinterlands, because it is literally the secret sauce to why this game is of value, why it's different, why it's revolutionary. The idea that you actually can receive reward for your time and attention. I don't mean tokens. I don't mean ethereal, crypto assets that have no real world value. I mean literal US dollars in your bank. And if SPS goes where we think it could go, if this game becomes what we think it could become, then there's actual opportunity for people to have real world tangible benefit from a video game. And that's crazy. That's amazing. That's different. That's special. And so this idea, I don't begrudge you at Metal Storm at all, this idea. Now, I would, if we were friends and we were sitting across the table, I'd be like, okay, good for you, dude. Set a plan, aim at it. And if you get there, execute, pull the trigger on that trade. But, don't for a second think, like some of the negativity in here, it seems like you're coming at it from like, you're upset about maybe your card values falling, or you're upset that, you invested in Untamed, it sounds like, and now they're moving out of modern. I mean, everything in crypto has gone down, right? Everything. Through the bear market, everything, including Bitcoin, went down from 60,000 to I think 15 for Bitcoin. 65 to 15. That's a 75% drop. Something like that. I think it might have been more. Altcoins, lots of them went down 90, 99%. Depends what you're in. These cards held more value than most other assets in this space from top to bottom of bear, from bull to bear. Now you might say, well, we're not done the bear and maybe these things are going to keep falling. I actually don't have proof to hold up and say you're wrong. I'm just saying so far, really this idea that how to make the cards are going to be even more worthless, which is to say that they're worthless. They have no value. Well, yes, they do. Second of all, they retain value in ways that many of the crypto assets in this broad economy haven't. And lastly, this idea about, they're cycling out. I mean, Metal Storm, come on, man. I can, there's like frustration. And it's kind of almost clearly, you're just like tacking on this idea, but you knew that cards were going to circle out of modern, right? I mean, that's all like literally since modern was created. This was the mechanic that was planned, right? So, I mean, we need to kind of, even though there's big money at stake, even though, this can hurt sometimes, we need to stop and recognize that there's a reality to our critique and our concern. There is with yours. Your SPS is gutted. Your card prices have fallen at least 50%, maybe 70%. And you're right. In some sense, it's hard to keep up with the Joneses and stay in modern and succeed there, especially as they move some of your cards out. But everybody's in that same boat. And more than that, there's more of a silver lining than you're giving credit for. That's what I guess I'm saying. And I think that silver lining is in so core and tied to where we started, which is this idea, right? The idea that you can cash it. There's a huge silver lining here. You actually have a path, at least a theoretical one, as to how you actually exit this well. And I think right now, if I asked you, you probably would say you don't really believe that's going to happen based on the tone of your comment. But I hope you see that there's not a zero probability. Like, I mean, to me, there's a really huge likelihood. But to somebody in your kind of frustration moment, I wonder if you would admit that there is a distinct possibility that your soulbound cards will carry a huge value, that your untamed cards will carry a huge value. They are fairly scarce. There was only 1.5 million packs of those. I wouldn't sell them now as they've lost 50 or 60% of their value, but I'd hold them and then we'll wait for another bull run, as you're already expressing you're trying to do with the SPS. And SPS itself, man, in the meantime, you're earning it, you're staking it, you're getting more of it. And then what? Those, man, 1.4 cents? No thanks. You know, if that multiplies in a big way, I think the picture and the tone change so quickly for some people in this space. So thank you, Metalstorm. I want to read Banana too, because he's just replying to, he goes, I share that sentiment a little. They're changing it up probably for two reasons. One is that really need to sell packs. Yes, this is so important. They need profit. They need income. They need runway. And I don't begrudge them that. We want this game to survive. We want Splinterlands company to thrive. We have to, those two things are connected, period. Right? So we need them to have money. Now you might say they mishandled their previous money. Okay, fair enough. But do we want to, you have to, like, you've heard that expression, to cut off your nose to spite your face. It's this idea that, are we going to be so angry at maybe how they managed their previous funds that we're going to resent them or begrudge them from releasing a rebellion today, knowing that they need those funds to have the runway to continue producing this game we love? I hope you see the folly of dying on that hill. Like, it's to begrudge them. And I don't hear either Metalstorm really saying that or Bananas, but I want to think that out, you know? Let's carry on. So they needed money. They wasted all their money. Yeah, fair enough. I mean, in some sense, this might be a bit of hyperbolic, but yes, they did. During their last bull market, they clearly wasted too much money. And they've said that in their own way. The other is that people are bored of playing with the game. And this is to some extent true. Now, I'm not bored, and lots of people aren't. Still, thousands of people are playing this every single day. And I would say more than ever, because of the way that the new energy works and how many games you get per day. People are playing this a lot. And I think the data on the DApp radar, for instance, like really bears that out. But we won't go too far down that rabbit hole. But still, having said that, it is something that you can refresh with new cards. And so I think he's right. If they can actually make the game more exciting, which they will through these new summoner tactics and the new summoner abilities and the new meta changes and the new, land 1.5 and everything that will do, maybe the older cards will hold some value somehow. Now, I don't even think somehow. I think just necessarily they will. It's a question of whether or not SPS price goes up, because if it goes up, then the gameplay, the rank experience pays a meaningful amount because the token you're receiving is more highly prized. So if we have a 1 cent SPS, you're getting 6 cents for win in diamond. But if we have a $1 SPS, you're getting $6 per win in diamond. So imagine how many new players you get in that if that happens. And then if that happens and they want to chase after the SPS rewards, what do they need? Cards. Where do they get them? From you. Do they rent them? They're paying huge daily costs. That's like, we're back into like $50 or $100 worth of rental cost to you as a card holder. Or you're selling cards again for huge price tickets. And then we're going to see people saying like, man, Chaos Legion, we shouldn't have burned them. It's going to come. So I like the conversation. Thank you, Metalstorm. Thank you, Bananas. Great chat. I'm going to move on. Okay, so Supreme Victory Network, who's left comments on the channel for a long time and has been, a supporter in some ways. Thank you very much, first of all, and for feeding ideas here too. Let's see. This is a video where I talk about Rebellion promos, promo cards, like the value of the promo cards, and packs. Like, do you want to buy packs or should we focus on singles? And in this one, Supreme Victory Network says, thoughts on the current status of the future prospects of GLX project, particularly in relation to its staking phase and the partnership with the MLS soccer. Oosh. As the staking phase is nearing its conclusion, what measures are in place to maintain investor confidence and prevent a potential sell-off by token holders? I mean, it's a great question. It's a really great question. Honestly, seriously, that probably needs to be its own video. I'm going to move on actually, because it feels like that's too disparate from where we're currently, but I'm going to tell you it's very quickly, Supreme Victory Network, I'm nervous for that project. Now, nervous is possibly the wrong word because I never had high hopes for it. I thought it looked unimpressive. I thought it looked underwhelming. I have kept all of my tokens and I continue to, claim and stake. And there's 17 days left for the staking rewards. I mean, you're right. I don't know what happens. Like, why would somebody hold if there's not a playable game, if there's not staking rewards? I don't know. Something does have to happen, but frankly, I never put any money into it, and I'm just waiting to patiently see if this surprises me. And I do think we can be surprised. I think this is still so early. I think Splinterlands is still so early. I think Splinter Forge is still so early. Golem, Overlords. It's just this whole space is so just brand new. I am not worried about realizing profits today, and therefore I'm not concerned about investor confidence, because I don't actually believe you need massive investor confidence to let a little project float under the radar until the next bull market, and then all kinds of things that can happen. So I don't know if that's a very satisfying answer. But I just am not deeply interested in MLX or GLX, and but I am a token holder. And this is a comment that's looked like it merited sort of a touch. So this is where we'll finish. Same video. It's more on topic for what I was talking about. That's why I didn't really want to focus on this one, because it's not really where I was even what the video was about. Perry Project goes, what are your thoughts on the team accepting DEC for packs? I hadn't thought about it, but after your comment about the team having to sell SPS on the players' heads when the flywheel starts, I realized we're in the same situation right now with DEC from packs. In order for Splinterlands to realize those profits and increase their runway, they need to sell it back to the players or investors. He's right, and I did talk about that as one of my. I think I was up there in one of my in my fears. I think one of my from that video. So what are your thoughts on the team accepting DEC? Well, the thing I think is, okay, this is such a complicated question because there's tokenomics involved, and there's all this there's these presumptions that I don't know if we have the same language for. There are some assumptions I would make about answering your question, such as there's almost nothing more important for our game than getting DEC to peg and holding it there, because that'll drive SPS prices, because once DEC is at peg, it means it's there because there's lack of supply. That's how you get to peg. So DEC being at peg means DEC has lack of supply. DEC lack of supply is great for flywheel because it means that people who want DEC access it by burning it to SPS. That's great for SPS price. And so this is how I get to a place where very quickly I want to answer that part of the question, that I am for them accepting DEC for packs. Now, one of the consequences of that, though, because this is like a very famous quote, just reading this book, there are no perfect solutions, there are only trade-offs. And it's so true. Like, if you think about So we want DEC to get back to peg. So therefore, let's take some of it out of circulation by putting it in the DAO. We give half of it to the DAO. We give half it to the company. Now there's less of it in circulation, right? Right and wrong. Like in some sense, the money that's in the DAO in DEC, it one day has to be spent. Then they're going to have to, like he said, sell on our heads. Same with the company. They need runway. Well, they need to liquidate that DEC. It's no good to sell rebellion packs in DEC for runway if they then just need to sell that DEC again, which is going to happen. Like they would theoretically need to have that runway, unless they're borrowing against it and using some sort of, there's different ways you could do that. But I don't think that Matt would try that. I think he probably would sell it in an algorithmic fashion. And I think he touched on this in the most recent town hall. I think in the last 20 minutes or so, it might have been a comment, if I'm recalling correctly, where Matt specifically said, we have to create some like algorithmic sale metric or measure. We'll sell a little, we'll sell a little, we'll sell a little, like, so that hopefully it's just this constant thing. And then I really think, in the next bull market, as we see SPS getting to 10, 20, 30, 50 cents, which I think is possible, it gets to a place where this is it's absolutely reasonable to believe. Because people will want DEC for a myriad of reasons, whether it's land, card purchases, card renting, etc. Upgrading buildings on your land, because there's going to be buildings, investing in the 50 liquidity pools so that you're receiving rewards, etc., etc., etc. So I am for them accepting DEC for packs, but there are consequences to that decision. And it does result in them selling tokens on our heads. I think it's possible to sell tokens to our economy without killing our economy. And I think they will do everything possible and prudent to do so. That's the best way I could answer the question. I'm going to leave it there, Perry. Thank you so much for the comment. Thank you everyone for the comments, and I appreciate your time and attention. Thank you for all of it. Hope you have an amazing day. If you want more content from me, check out the members only page, and you can subscribe and support the channel however you see fit at whatever price point you want. And there is members only content. There's members only live events every single week. Thank you. Bye for now.